There are new cameras being introduced every year. They have new features, updated materials, and every single one promises to be the best. And that's not even including the lenses and other gadgets and gizmos that are supposed to make our photography so much better. But here's the thing. Do they? Do they make our photography so much better? Or is it really just more of the same? Let's talk about that. And I'll share some photos along the way, some shot years ago, and some shot this week. Then I'll tell you how to learn more about those newer photos and how my VIPs can see the gallery and a behind-the-scenes video. Now, I want to set a ground rule here before I get further into this video. Gear is great. I love gear. I love new gear. I love reading about and using different types and different brands of gear. I even love purchasing new gear. But I also love old gear. I enjoy using each and every camera and lens that I own, new and old. They're my babies. So the ground rule is this. I love gear, but I see photography as an art. I do not believe that it is the camera or the lens that makes the photo. It's the artist that makes the photo. And the beauty of a photo is not determined by any one person's preferences. We all have different tastes and different tolerances for photo characteristics. I shared a video with you a while back where I talked about timing, light, and location. Those are building blocks of a good photo that cannot be improved upon by a new camera. That is what I was thinking when I planned my most recent portrait shoot. I started out by thinking about timing, light, and location before I even picked up my camera. Choosing the camera was secondary. When it was time to make a decision, I grabbed the Nikon D300S and 17-55 f2.8 lens. I've had the body for almost 7 years and the lens for even longer. But I had chosen the timing of my shoot, winter, when there was a bit of snow on the ground, the light, natural light at sunset, and the location, a neat rocky area of the forest, all ahead of time. I had chosen an interesting blanket to wrap around myself, so I knew that the gear wasn't going to make the difference in the photos. It was the planning that I had done, the choices that I made, that made the difference. Okay, camera companies advertise all these new and wonderful features on new cameras. They get us all excited. More autofocus points, higher frame rate, higher ISO sensitivity, more dynamic range, 4K video, and OMG, the megapixels. How could we not be enticed into thinking that we couldn't possibly keep using our old gear? It's so out of date, right? But wait, is that right? Have I just been seduced into thinking that I can't live without ISO 1 million bazillion? How often do I even use high ISO sensitivities anyway? And exactly how big is the difference between that new body and the one that I have now? And are there other elements of a photo shoot that are more important than the gear? I've been lucky enough to try out lots of different gear, either because I purchased it myself or because it was lent to me. One thing that I always notice is this. When I get my hands on my new stuff, my photography doesn't really change. I mean, different cameras have different strengths and they are each a little different to use, so some may be more fun for me to play with. But my photos with this new gear end up looking pretty much the same as my photos taken with my well-used older cameras. Now, if you're moving from a decade-old camera body to a brand new body, you will see a difference in some aspects of your photos in some situations. I'm not ignoring that. Low light performance is one of those things. Newer bodies tend to focus better in low light, and they are able to shoot at higher ISO sensitivities with less objectionable noise. However, does that make the photo with less noise better than the photo with more noise? Is the crispness of the photo really what makes the difference in photography? And you know what? Is the difference between your older body and this newer body that you're thinking of purchasing even significant? Let me give you a personal example. Really, looking across my body of work as Snap Chick, I will often grab my newer gear for photo shoots, whether they are portraits or landscapes, but my older gear doesn't gather dust on my shelves. You've even seen me grab my really old gear for photos like this one taken with an old 50mm manual focus lens. Really, I'm not sure that I couldn't have done any of the shoots that I've done with any of the cameras that I have. That might be exaggerating. There are things that are inherently different about different types of gear. For example, shooting sports, I'm going to want something that snaps into focus quickly. Autofocus tracking technology is getting better and better and certainly makes it easier to follow the subject. But guess what? Practice in following a moving subject is an age-old method to get a good action photo. Another example is depth of field. I have taken photos where I want a very shallow depth of field, so a lens with the capability to open to a wide aperture was necessary. So I know that there are certain benefits to newer gear in some situations. I know that we all have our own style of photography and our own preferences for how a camera feels and operates, and the specifications that are even important to us. But one thing that I have found is that most of the time, newer gear is not going to change the end result in a dramatic way. The more things change, new lenses, new features on cameras, the more they really stay the same. Getting to know your gear and your style and how to best use your gear to get that photo you want, making plans, like for timing, light, and location, those things are going to have a greater impact on your photography. Now, I did put an example photo from this most recent shoot up at snapchick.com. You can find a link to the post in the description of this video below. I put the settings up as well, and VIPs, make sure to log in while you're there to see a behind-the-scenes video of me freezing my butt off during the shoot, talking about challenges of the shoot, and also how I edited the photos. Plus, there's a gallery of 20 images for you to take a look at. See how my trusty D300S did in the dimming light. So dare I ask, what do you think? Do you think that your gear makes the biggest difference in your photography? Was there a time when you got new gear and saw a big improvement, or didn't see a big improvement? Share your thoughts in the comments.